Welcome to Wrestling for Us. Potentially, right? Okay. Welcome to Wrestling for Us. I'm with our regular guest. Do you know what? I'm not going to call you a guest anymore. You're a partner in crime, Aman, in this particular venture. How you doing, man?
I'm good, thank you. How are you doing?
Alhamdulillah, I'm good, and I'm excited to talk about the thing I can't touch because it's in the background of our picture, which is Full Gear. Full Gear was, in my opinion, a very, very, very good show. Okay, I've heard people actually badmouth this show a lot, thinking this is one of the worst AEW pay-per-views. But for me, I enjoyed it immensely. So let's begin by getting your initial thoughts, Aman. What was your initial thoughts of this entire pay-per-view?
No, I agree. I thought it was a good pay-per-view. It's definitely a strong pay-per-view. But there were just some things that I found a bit pernickety, found a bit like were cropping up in more and more matches. And I'm sure we'll discuss it further on as we go along. But I just I think some of the lack of psychology on the moves is just becoming a bit too much of an issue to gloss over. That's all. But all in all, I thought it was a very strong pay per view, very good. The ending was brilliant. I thought that it was about time Hangman Page went over, and his entrance to him actually winning and the crowd going crazy. I was like, that's the moments you, as a fan, that's the moments you long for. So yeah, all in all, I thought it was good. There were some issues in some matches. I thought I've seen what you've seen as well. That it has been a very mixed review in terms of people's comments, but all in all, I thought, yeah, good pay per view.
Now, and I know this sounds really bad, but I'm so happy the opening of the show was this match, all right? Darby Allin versus MJF, right? MJF, the dude who can be hated so much by every single human being in the world, and that hatred would still not be enough because this guy deserves every single hate you can. Because, oh my goodness, dude did like that takedown thing like 4 or 5 times in that match, saying, I could beat you with a headlock takedown. And in a way, he kind of did, right? He kind of did. But dude, honestly, this match, I think Darby Allin and MJF, they're just superstars. They're mega stars in my opinion. Because I didn't know anything about them until 2019 when AEW launched. And now I am so invested in both of their storylines. I'm like, I can't wait to see where things are going. And I can't believe this, but MJF beat Darby freaking Allin, right? And fine, you gotta punch him with a ring, right? You gotta. I love how he's done it like 2-3 times in matches where I was like, I don't know who needs to win. MJF can't really take the loss. Allin can't take the loss. And every time I've thought this, he just gets the ring, punches the guy, and wins the match. So, what were your thoughts about this match?
I really enjoyed the match. I thought it was a fantastic match. Really set the pace for what the show was from the very beginning. And like he said in his promos building to this match, those two are two of the building blocks of that company. Homegrown, ready-made stars that are your foundations for this company. I thought the match was really good, but my only criticism with this match, and it became a theme throughout some of these matches, is when you do a high-profile, high-risk move, that should be your finish.
Yeah.
It should be your finish, or it should be like towards the end of your match, because then you can play into the story. Well, he took all this abuse and it just became too much for him. But the point that I'm referring to was the tombstone on the ring apron.
Yeah.
Darby wrestled like for another, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes after that. and it negates the impact of that move. So like on a move where typically like the Undertaker finished the majority of his opponents off with that move.
Yeah.
So
But Aman, here you could look at it this way, right? If someone can't hit the move correctly, and again, I'm addressing the main event where Hangman tried the one-winged angel, and he couldn't lay waste to Kenny Omega because it's not his move. So could that be the thought process behind it?
maybe, but I just think if you're going to do that move, you position it in the match correctly. I
Okay.
just thought if you're going to do it halfway through a match, it negates the impact of that move. Like I just mentioned, the Undertaker finished half the majority of his opponents with that move. So what are we saying for people of our age who have seen maybe both matches, not for people of a younger generation who are just watching AEW for the first time? But we're saying, well, the majority of the Undertaker's opponents were not as strong enough as Darby Allin to withstand a tombstone, and not even in the ring, on the apron, which is the hardest part of the ring. Do you see the point that I'm trying to make? It just negates the impact of that move. Because if you did it, and then he hit him with the ring and then did a roll-up, you can see, okay, well, those moves were like a combination that led to his downfall. But he wrestled for another 10 minutes. So it doesn't weigh up. The psychology just doesn't match to the move. Apart from that, I thought it was a really good match. I thought they wrestled a really solid match. I thought the finish was the only way you could justify an MJF win whilst protecting Darby Allin and extend your story, which looks like is what they're going to do. But yeah, apart from that one thing, I enjoyed this match. And it'll just be more unbearable MJF promos leading in the next few weeks of Dynamite. See, told you so.
Yeah, and that's what you need from your heel. One of your top heels, that's exactly what you need. If we move on to the next match, which was the tag team titles on the line match, right? You got Lucha Brothers Lucha Bros, versus FTR or whatever else they can be called, the Revival or whatever name they come up with.
Yeah.
And thank goodness FTR lost. Okay? Because, no offense, but you hate MJF, but I like MJF at the same time. You see what I mean? Like, you hate to love the character or you love to hate the character. With FTR, I just hated them since I'd seen them in WWE. I've hated them in NXT. I hated them in AEW. I just never liked them as a group. They probably work really well. They wrestle well. But just to quote a couple of, wrestling YouTubers, I like the flippy dippy doodah kind of people, all right? I like the Jungle Boys, the Lucha Bros, the Rey Mysterios, the Ricochets, the Young Bucks as well, to an extent, sometimes, right? So I'm that type of wrestling fan. So when you see someone not doing that, and it's a lot of like hard moves, and it's not big, huge guys doing hard moves, it's like, average looking dudes, but like really bulked up. It just doesn't sit as well for me, and I've just never been a huge fan of them. So personally, very happy that the Lucha Bros have retained or basically gotten have all the championship now. So I'm happy with that. What were your thoughts on this match?
I'm a bit opposite to you. I'm quite a traditionalist when it comes to that, because what those guys do is proper mat-based, technical, professional wrestling. That is all they do. I don't think you would have like a psychology issue in any of those guys' matches. They know what works and how it works and how to piece together a match like that. I thought the Clash of Styles was really good. I don't know if you remember, but I really liked the way they shot where I think it was Penta was in the ring and then Cash and Dax come in and you just see Phoenix fly in from the corner. Yeah. It looked like he was a superhero. He just came in and landed in the middle. So I thought that was really well shot. I enjoyed the match. and I think the right people went over. It was far too early to take the title off
Yeah.
the Lucha Brothers because they just won it at the last pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, nothing really to write home about though. Nothing really stood out, but I thought the match was really good. Don't know why, just randomly. I don't know why they keep coming out to this like lucha type music, but then they've got the wrong gear that doesn't complement the music. I don't really understand the connection there. But yeah, other than that, I thought it was a good match.
I just want to mention something. I know it's not a direct correlation, but I was going to get onto it later. But I'd rather mention it now. The tributes to Mr. Eddie Guerrero in this full year, man.
Yeah.
Oh man, the best again. Highly biased, huge Eddie Guerrero fan, right? I used to lie, I used to cheat, I used to steal, right? Especially from you, Aman.
Yeah.
Right? So I loved the fact that every time, I can't remember all of them, but I remember two particularly. I remember CM Punk and Chris Jericho as the two big ones that I can recall, right? In terms of the tributes. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. Pardon?
They did it in this match as well.
I think that's why it's in my head. So they did it really well, and they spread it out throughout the entire pay-per-view, and it just resonated with me very, 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 very much. And I just wanted your thoughts on that. Do you think that was the right way to incorporate it? On top of that, I've never, or in my memory, I don't remember Chris Jericho hitting such a good frog splash, right? And that's for a 51-year-old man, a pretty good frog splash. So yeah, I think it was a really good, it was a really good tribute to Eddie Guerrero as a show.
Yeah, definitely. And I don't think they would have faced any blowback from anybody regarding that. I don't know if it was planned or if they just felt it in the moment because it was a move they were doing that was synonymous with him. But yeah, really, really nice fitting tribute. I don't know if it was done like for a particular reason, whether that was one of the last arenas he performed in, whether it was like a death anniversary or something like that. Maybe
I think it is. I think it was like 15 years or something, 16 years.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. But yeah, fantastic tribute, and it was something across the board you saw in a variety of matches, and it just goes to show the impact and legacy that he's had and left on the business. So yeah, it was really, really nice fitting tribute.
Yeah, as you mentioned, it was the triple suplexes that CM Punk did, and they did in this match as well. Yeah, you're right about 13th November 2005 when he passed away. So it is.
That, you were at my house. I think we were.
Yeah, I was.
Something
yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember finding out about that. I also remember when we both found out about Chris Benoit as well.
Yeah.
We're always together whenever we hear bad news, unfortunately. Same with Michael Jackson. Same with Mike.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's a really weird tangent to go off on, but let's get back to business. Let's talk about the number one contenders match between Miro and Bryan Danielson, right? I keep saying Daniel Bryan. One thing I want to mention is we talked about this in our predictions video. It kind of made sense to go Bryan Danielson way, but Miro versus Hangman, it's a better dynamic, heel versus face. But now that Bryan Danielson's won, maybe the thought process was always that Bryan Danielson was going to win, and whoever he faces, they're just going to have a strong showing. And the way Danielson won, it kind of, not that it didn't make sense, I get it. Like you hit a DDT from the top rope, and then you keep that guillotine choke on, and then that guy's passed out. But to me, it was kind of anticlimactic. Everything up till that point, for me, the match was fantastic. The match for me was, again, a match of the night contender. But what did you think of that match?
No, you took the words right out of my mouth. I was going to say the finish was just a bit like, bit like anticlimactic because there was no momentum leading to that finish. But the rest of the match I thought was really good. I don't have an issue with Bryan Danielson winning. I just think it's going to be a bit difficult to do a babyface and a babyface feud, considering you want. All right, there's Hangman is over, but it's the Bryan Danielson level over.
No. Well, actually, do you know what? AEW's done this really well. And we're going to get down to Eddie Kingston and CM Punk shortly. But they've worked out a dynamic. Apart from Cody Rhodes, everyone else, the dynamic works really well, I'd say.
Yeah. But I thought the match was really good. I thought Miro really looked like a beast and got himself really over in this match, especially when he was asking him to kick him.
Yeah.
And he, I think in a couple of times during the match, Brian would punch him, and Miro would just be like, boom, and Brian would fall on the floor in a heap. So that dynamic was really, really good. I don't know what they're going to do with Miro, but I definitely feel like he has moved from like the mid card TNT level to the main event now.
Yeah.
So that's where we should be seeing him. But again, strong showing for both people. But man, does Bryan Danielson have stiff matches since he's come to AEW? How that guy's body is not like peace. I don't know.
No, man, this is the thing. 5 years ago, he was basically, he couldn't wrestle, right? And then he came back. Since he's come back in WWE, he had some great matches, some okay matches. But in AEW, he has been outstanding. The Kenny Omega Bryan match for me was just the tip of the iceberg. But this match was quite close. Like I said, like we both said, the ending was the downside, but everything else was such a solid match. If we move further down, and this is the match I think I said I thought was going to open the night. It didn't, right? Which is the Jurassic Park versus the Super Click or the Elite, Young Bucks, and Adam Cole. And you know what? They lost. I was like, Jurassic Park's not Jurassic Express. Jurassic Park is the movie. Jurassic Express, I thought they weren't going to win, but they did. Like Jurassic Express, Christian Cage, that team is actually clicking quite well. No puns intended with the Super Click, right? But what I'm trying to say is that's good. It's good that you're getting this other team over another team that everyone knows is fantastic, right? Adam Cole has fit right into the Elite as well as anyone could have imagined, right? And the way the story is told, it's really a lot of fun. Now, one thing I want to mention, and then I'll come back. I'll ask you the question, Aman. Do you think this match went a little too long? Because it was a false count anywhere match. It was gonna go long, obviously, right? Because it had to be pinned outside the ring because that was a stipulation. I hate it when they have false count anywhere and the match finishes in the ring or right next to the ring. It's like, what's the point? What's even the point of this? But thankfully, they had some really good bumps and some really good moves. But Concerto to one of the Young Bucks. And do you know what? He was fine in an hour and a half. So, Aman, take it away. Tell me your thoughts.
I think we called what the match was going to be like. It was basically just a spot fest.
Yeah.
And as much as I'm a fan of everybody in that match, this was my second least favorite match of the night. Because the false finishes, the psychology for the moves, it just became too much.
Yeah.
I mean, Adam Cole was bleeding. He took a table bump. All ladders, I think he took a power bomb onto a ladder. Jungle Boy got super kicked with tacks in his face. Luchasaurus got hit with a three-sided V trigger, and they had the thumbtacks on their knees.
Yeah.
And he still kicked out.
Dude, Adam Cole did the Panama Sunrise thing, like the flip on the freaking entrance.
Yeah.
That's fine.
But and they were still kicking out.
Yeah.
Like, what do you have to do to beat these guys? Why are you doing such high-pitched moves if it has no effect?
Yeah. Very WWE, I must say.
If that was a match in WWE, you would not see that. They would have, okay, that's too many high-profile spots. Pick one that'll be the most effective and have your finish there, which is what I agree with, actually. Because it just negates it. And okay, people will say, well, that's the audience that they cater to, that's that demographic, but it's too much. If you do it too much, it loses its effect and it dilutes it.
Yeah.
So I wasn't a fan of how that match was put together. And after all that, the thing that irked me the most was Matt Jackson took that concerto. Not
Yeah.
an hour later, he was on his feet in the main end of that main event of that show. He said this, like, I've been saying this for 2 weeks now. What is the point of this move? If
Edge was out for like 3 months in WWE.
Thank you.
Yep. And I love the fact that you mentioned it last week about Adam Cole, and he came back in 2 days, and this is less than 2 hours.
He was back an hour later. Not even like 48 hours or 24 hours. No, send him out an hour later. They could have done that with anybody. Why didn't they do that with Adam? Adam didn't come out in the main event. Give him the concerto. Make him look like he's been written off the show. Come on. I mean, I don't think we should be unbiased and be like, we'll just criticize WWE for everything they do wrong. But then when AEW does something wrong, we don't say something.
Yeah.
We should criticize them for when they're doing something wrong.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I completely agree with you. And the funny thing is, and it's not funny exactly, but Kenny Omega is not 100% fit anymore, by the way. He's got some sort of, right? So it's crazy. It's crazy how we're talking about Adam Cole could have taken the bump and et cetera, et cetera. If Adam Cole was written off and Omega's written off, the Elite's basically done unless Kevin Owens kind of jumps in from WWE eventually. But we won't talk about that, man. We won't talk about that. Anyways, I agree with you wholeheartedly about all your points right there, because you need some repercussions of your actions within at least within the show, right? Wait until Dynamite and just mention, oh, Matt's okay, Matt's in hospital, or something like that to kind of make it make sense.
If you're going to do big, impactful moves, they have to have an impact. That is the whole point.
Yeah, and this is why, and again, you know this, I had no clue who Kenny Omega was before 2017, okay? You told me about Kenny Omega. I saw his matches. I was like, dude, when he hits this move, he wins, right? Yeah. When someone tries his move on him, they don't win because he has that extra oomph thing if he's fully fit. There's so much psychology behind that one move. But for some reason, they haven't done that with all the moves. And again, spot fests, I'm a target for spot fests, man, right? I love him. Absolutely love him. But I completely agree with you about the way they've handled it in this particular pay-per-view. It's not been ideal. It's been too much. It's like you have a limit and then they've gone like, yeah, let's go here rather than just a smidge above it. Let's talk about your least favorite match, because I can't believe this. This is my least favorite match as well. And I would have never thought a match with Pac, Cody, Black, and Andrade was going to be my least favorite match. I don't know if this is yours, but this is my least favorite match of the night. And it was just there. And this is the worst thing to say about 4 absolutely brilliant professional wrestlers, but this could have been on Dynamite. What are your thoughts?
Exactly. It could have been. And it just gave the heels another loss. Like, I don't know where the story is going. And now they keep attack Cody and people. I don't know. I don't know. It was not my favorite match. I didn't particularly enjoy it. The only thing I did like was they teased the tension between both teams. Normally it's one team, but both teams this time. So I thought that was a nice wrinkle. But yeah, it wasn't. This was my least favorite match of the night, unfortunately.
Yeah, same here, man. No arguments here. Next match was the women's title match. Ty Conti versus Britt Baker. And you know what? I can't remember the ending. Britt Baker won, obviously, because she couldn't lose to Ty Conti. But how did it go? And what were your thoughts? Because I thought that was again, I don't remember it fully, but it was an entertaining match. I just can't remember how Britt Baker won.
I think there was outside interference from Rebel and Jamie Hayter, and then I think Britt did a roll-up.
Okay. Yeah.
Got the pin that way. But yeah, again, entertaining match. Nothing really to write home about, though. But yeah, enjoyed the match. Right person went over. But we'll just see who they move her onto now, because like we've said before, she really needs people for her to get even more elevated. She needs people higher up to work towards bigger name. But we'll see where we go from here.
Yep, I completely agree with you there. And then the big two matches. I know there's only one main event usually, but for me, there were two main events in this match, okay? And I can't believe I forgot. Hold on. I just checked. I forgot the match that everyone cares about. American Top Team versus the Inner Circle of One. The thing that I've been waiting for. I can't believe I missed that match. But what I do want to mention is, to me, that match was quite fun. The funny thing is they had a toaster. I don't remember a toaster being introduced before, but they used a toaster. Who was it? Hagar. He came in and like ta with like with a toaster. That was pretty fun. But I think it was exactly what it needed to be. And as you predicted, if they want to end the storyline, they need the Lambert to take the fall and Jericho to do it. And that's where Jericho did the whole like thing and did the frog splash to win the match. I think that was perfect. The way that was set up was quite good. And again, a lot of hits, a lot of weapons used. At least here, a lot of the wrestlers did stay on the ground for an extended period of time. It wasn't that they were just all up and at him quite easily. At least they were showing some sort of injuries, some sort of, shaking feeling that, oh, I'm not fully fit, etc., etc. But all in all, that match was not too shabby. What do you think? Because I know you weren't a huge fan of this program.
No. I thought it was fine for what it was. I thought the person who come out the best out of that match was Sammy Guevara. I think he looked like an absolute star in that match. Like the height of that, like a swanton, I guess you could call it, or a moonsault or something, looked really good. I don't know if you noticed, but I think towards the end of the match, where Jericho was going to do the lion salt, you could hear him screaming at one of the MMA fighters because he'd missed his cue to hit him with a kendo stick. So he kept going. I think it was Junior, and he kept going, Junior. The guy had to get up and hit him with a kendo stick, and then Jericho had to sell it like he was really hurt. So that was a bit of a mistime. But I thought it was good, and hopefully this match blows up. This feud is blown off, and we just move on to something else now. So nothing to write home about, but entertaining for what it was.
One debut I want to mention, Jay Lethal is All Elite. Again, didn't know much about him until he was just thrusted onto us at Full Gear. Any points you want to tell us about?
So he was a Ring of Honor guy for a long time. I think that is the major promotion that he worked for and became like the face of that brand. Like if you spoke about Ring of Honor, you spoke about Jay Lethal. Severely underrated, extremely good wrestler. And hopefully him coming into AEW gives him the platform that he's needed to shine. So we'll see where he goes from there. And his first match is going to be with Sammy Guevara for the TNT title on Dynamite this week.
That's going to be that's going to be a lot of fun because again, you've said it and I've read it on a couple of platforms as well that he's a very talented wrestler. So someone like Sammy Guevara versus Jay Lethal, I hope it's the main event. I think it probably will be the main event because that entire program is going to be awesome. Let's talk about the two matches I was going to talk about before, and CM Punk versus Eddie Kingston. So we talked about this before. It was a very, very hard-hitting match, but at the same time, it had a lot of story into it. Okay, and the psychology here made sense to me. Okay, the way certain things happened. And dude, did I pop when he was about to do the 5-knuckle shuffle. Man, I popped like crazy. He did the move, right? And everyone stood up in the background. And I was like, oh my God. And then I realized, oh wait, I'm not there. Why am I getting excited about it? And then he did the whole like stick. And I was like, if he actually went on with it, that would have been pretty damn cool. But honestly, I thought that entire match, for me, and I said this before, Brian and Miro was near the match of the night. For me, this was match of the night. I absolutely loved it. I was invested. I followed each and every beat. On top of that, love the fact that Kingston, who is a face, didn't shake CM Punk's hand at the end of it. He's like, nah, I'm going. And he went. And I don't know where his story is going to go. I don't know where Punk's story is going to go. But it's just that dynamic, like we said before. In AEW, even if you have everyone who is definitely a face or a heel, you have different wrestlers like CM Punk who can blur the lines between the two. And I absolutely loved it, man.
Yeah. One of my favorite matches of the night. I think the last two matches were my favorite. I just loved it. I thought it was balls to the wall, really in your face.
Yeah.
You could tell and feel like the animosity that they were trying to create. Like they even mentioned it on commentary. Punk just walked straight down, no clobbering time, no stopping on the ramp, anything. Came straight in, went up to Eddie Kingston's face. Eddie wouldn't have it, anything. Back fist, knocked him on the floor, and the crowd just went, whoa. And I think people who were watching it were like, what? Is it going to end that quick? I just thought it was a brilliant, brilliant match. Loved seeing it, and I'd love to see a continuation of the feud and see where it goes. But yeah, really, really enjoyed it. I thought it was a star-making performance for Eddie Kingston.
Yeah.
I think this, like we've discussed before, the loss will do him better in the long run. So yeah, really, really enjoyed that match.
Just imagine a loss that Adam Page got like years and years ago, and what that's done for his career. So yeah, I completely agree with you there. And then we come on to the actual main event, the AEW World Championship match between Kenny Omega and Hangman Adam Page, and he goddamn went and did it, didn't he? Right? He won it. He beat Kenny Omega with two buckshot lariats, right? And I loved the fact, yes, I know we hated the whole Young Bucks still being able, like Matt Jackson out there saying, right? Yes, his neck's not being like, his neck should be aching right now, but no, he's shaking his neck. He's shaking all of this. He's saying, yeah, go for it. And I love that dichotomy. Again, I don't know where the story goes, but I was so happy. It reminded me, do you remember when Rhea Ripley beat Shayna Baszler in NXT like a couple of years ago, or a year and a half or something like that 2019 or something? End of the year. That celebration, that's what it reminded me of. And then he celebrated, and then the Dark Order came out. It's just a very well-rounded end to a very, very good show for me. And that's why I was like, yeah, we got to talk about this show when we get a chance. So what were your thoughts about the main event?
I really enjoyed that main event. I loved his entrance where they filmed it, and he came on the horse and he was driving horse riding on the street, and then they had his like story playing in the background on those screens. And man, the pop he got when he came in to the arena. This has been the best long-term story we have seen in a long, long time.
In 20 years, man. 20 years.
Really, really enjoyed the match. I thought the match was fantastic. Really enjoyed it. Obviously, I thought the right person went over, and just the wave of cheers that you heard when he won that championship. I thought it was really good. Right person went over. I thought that despite what I felt about him not selling the concerto and coming in, but from a storyline perspective, I thought that was a really good wrinkle to add. And when the Dark Order offered him the beer, he turned the beer away and he just hugged them. It reminded me of WrestleMania 35 when Kofi won the title. And I was in the crowd that night.
I know.
At WrestleMania, and literally as it went, like when the three happened and people started realizing that he'd won, like it was just a huge wave of excitement and people jumping up and down. It just hit you, and you was like, oh. And then when you realized that he'd won, you just started celebrating. So that's what it felt like for me. But it was definitely the right time for Hangman to go over. So, like JR says, the Hangman era has begun. Let's see where we go with this. But yeah, really enjoyed that end, and it was a nice way to finish off the pay-per-view.
Yeah, nice culmination of the entire story. Like people said, 2-3 years in the making, that story. and it finally reached the end that it needed to. And the way they did it, probably longer than they expected it to go on, but it worked out really well, and I think it was the perfect end. Just want to say, it was my wedding reception the day that I invited you, and you were in America watching WrestleMania 35. Just thought I'd mention that, man. Just thought I'd mention that.
Well,
tells you what's important to you, doesn't it?
WrestleMania, Fred's wedding reception.
Oh, wow. Wow. Thank you for that. Anyways, I'm going to ask you two things. We've already talked about the match of the night and stuff, so I want to ask you two things. Who, in your opinion, was the wrestler of the night, and and if you had to give a rating to this entire pay-per-view, let's go with out of 10. What would you rate this pay-per-view?
Out of 10, 8.
Ooh, wow.
I would have given higher, but the lack of psychology on certain moves just became too much of a bear for me to give higher. And I'm going to give wrestler, I think. I think the easy answer would be to say Hangman, but I think I'm going to go for Eddie Kingston. I really, really enjoyed his match with Punk.
Fair enough. I think I would be slightly more generous than you. Yes, the psychology and all that stuff, but I think I'd give it about a 9. I'd say this is a 9 out of 10 pay-per-view. For me, that side of it is only like a one down. But yeah, 9 out of 10 quite easily, I'd say. For me, one of the best pay-per-views I've seen in the past 4 years. Not in like the top 5, but in the top 10. I think in the top 10 quite easily. All right, fantastic. And my wrestler is, surprise, surprise, also Eddie Kingston, because he impressed the hell out of me, honestly. Thank you, man. As always, we'll be back once again next time, not on Dragon Ball Z, but on wrestling for us, everyone. Please do like, share, and subscribe. Please leave us a comment. Let us know your thoughts about Full Gear. Let us know of anything. Just type away. And it really helps the channel. And yeah, until next time, take care, stay safe, and we'll catch you in the next one. Bye.